Welcome back to the Old Barn on Ann Street. If you've been following along in the last episode, we sealed up the wall and got the kitchen ready got the space ready to install our kitchen in the front half of our rental unit at 15 Ann Street. And shout out to Harry McDonald, who did a lot of work to help us then. He actually helped us install the kitchen as well. And we highlighted him last week, but shout out to him again. But this week I want to talk about some other friends who were an amazing help to us in getting this kitchen ready. Doug and Debbie Shreenan, friends that we've had for 3+ decades. So when Janet had her very first Christmas market in the barn in November of 2023, while we were working on this house to get it ready for our rental unit, we had the Christmas market, and it was the kind of a thing where a lot of people showed up, and there's a capacity in the barn, so people had to wait outside to kind of take their turn to get into the barn, so we didn't have too many people in the barn. And so there were lineups outside, and at one point in the morning, I noticed some familiar faces at the back of the line, and it was Doug and Debbie Shreenan, some good friends of ours who surprised us by driving down from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia to come to this market. Now, Doug and Debbie Shreenan have been friends for 3 decades. So when Janet and I bought our very first house in 1993 in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia, we thought the amazing part of that story was that we could even afford the house in the first place. It was really nothing short of a financial miracle for us. It's another story for another day. But when we look back on it, the best thing about the house isn't that we could afford it and the amazing thing that we could even afford the house, but the neighbors and the friends we made as a result. One house to our left, next door neighbors to our left, were Doug and Debbie Shreenan. And they have been good friends for 30 years. When we came back to Nova Scotia a few years ago to decide whether or not we were going to move back and to try to search and find it, and when we actually found this house and selected the Shelburne as the place we're going to move, we were staying with Doug and Debbie Shreenan, and that was our base for traveling all throughout the province. And so they've been good friends, and so we had a great time at that market, and we showed them through the rental house. It was right about the time we were about ready to put together all the kitchen and everything. And a few days later, after the market, Doug texted me and said, "Hey, how about if Debbie and I come down and help you put that kitchen in? Because it was going to be a lot of work to put together all the IKEA cabinets and install everything." So I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So they came down and they helped us do that. And it's been an amazing friendship for 30+ years. By the way, that principle has proven true yet again, because we chose a house here in Shelburne, fell in love with the town, thought that was the best part of the story. But in reality, it's the amazing people we see each and every day that we absolutely love here in Shelburne, Nova Scotia. So Doug and Debbie were a big part of putting together this kitchen and helped us out. So we wanted to tell you about them so that you know who you're going to be seeing in these videos as we show you the work on the kitchen. So here we go. Well, and then this is the where we put in a lot of work here as well. There used to be the door to the back half of the house there. And originally, before they added, that's the addition to the house built in the 1800s. But that used to be the back door of the house, right just to the left of where the stove is there. But we have sealed off this wall, and now we put in this IKEA kitchen. That was a lot of fun. Finished that last night about 1 o'clock in the morning. But not all the stuff was here. IKEA had to back order a door there and a couple doors up there. But most everything is in its place. We're really excited about what this looks like and how this is going to work for the family here. So this is the kitchen. We've put in a little bit of shelves over here. A couple things are on it there, where they can put their dishes and things over there. And then this old closet here has been repurposed into a pantry. When you open it up, there's some shelves in there for food and all. So all that completes the kitchen. It's a nice sized kitchen, and I like the way it just kind of flows into the living area there. It kind of makes it wide open for everybody for family to kind of, while they're sitting and cooking and all that, it makes it a great family area. So there it is. The kitchen, I think, is coming together pretty well. It took a couple weeks before we were able to get the rest of the things that were back ordered from IKEA, but eventually we had everything done, including the microwave over the top of the range. And love the way it turned out. Couldn't have done it without the help of the people I mentioned last week, Harry McDonald and the rest of the refugee committee, led by his wife George, but also Doug and Debbie Shreenan and all the great work they did for us. A lot of help, and we loved it, and we're thankful for all of that, and love the way it's turning out. And by the way, in our house, whenever we say whenever we talk about Doug and Debbie Shreenan and what good friends and neighbors they are, we also have to mention George and Laura Carmichael, who were our neighbors 2 doors to the right from that same house. Love them as well. In fact, they've been just as much of a help. Laura has come to help Janet in a number of different markets when she was at the Acadia Market just a couple months ago. Just good friends. They just make life great. And so thank you to George and Laura, Doug and Debbie, and all the wonderful people in Shelburne. Thanks for watching what we did and the work we're doing, but thanks for being a part of our lives. So, hey, next week the next episode, which will be next Sunday, we're gonna show how all the work in the front end of the house, the front unit turned out, so you get to see what it looks like, and we're looking forward to that. So have a good week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week on the Old Barn on Ann Street.